Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again to the Ridiculously Lame Wrestling Show. I am your host, Tony Squares. As always, I'm joined by a man who's been covering wrestling for the past decade, now works for Sportskeeda, Mr. Robert Lentini himself. And we are today breaking down the AEW pay-per-view. Revolution is on the horizon. Very excited to talk about it.
Tony.
Yeah.
Last week, I want not to cut you off, but last week you asked me a very interesting question, and I want to throw it right back at you. You asked me how excited I was for Elimination Chamber on a scale of 1 to 10. AEW Revolution is this Sunday night. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for the pay-per-view just a few days away?
Well, as the resident AEW fan of this podcast, you gave an 8 for Elimination Chamber and were sadly mistaken. I'm going to shoot a little bit lower. I'm going to give a solid 6.5. I think we're going to see a lot of fun matches, but I don't think this pay-per-view is going to change the world. Are you interested? Will you be purchasing this pay-per-view? Will you be watching it?
Yeah, I'm not. I've purchased every AEW pay-per-view as much as I seem like a hater. I want the brand to succeed because it's important to have a second brand, as we just saw what can happen with the leadership in the other brand. It's important to have another brand established. So yeah, I'm at like a 5, though, to be honest with you. There's some matches I'm really looking forward to, like Sting's last match. Even though it's against the Young Bucks, like it's Sting's last match, and that angle at the end of Dynamite, we'll talk about that, was great. You know, Sting descending from the rafters one last time. What an epic moment. But yes, I'm at a 5 because there's a couple matches that, I was excited for the Meat Madness, and we'll get into all this, but that's not what it was advertised to be.
It is not.
We were pretty pumped about the Meat Madness, if I recall, when we
brought it up last time. But it was definitely happening. We are going through every match on Revolution. We will also be talking about some WWE stuff, like the Maxxine Dupri situation, who will Gunther face at WrestleMania, and then, of course, we end every week with our gimmicks of the week, and we got some fun ones, including a new return to NXT. But let's dive right in to AEW Revolution. And let's dive in. Bob, why don't you pick the first match we want to talk about today? Because I believe there's 8 or 9 on the card. They have really packed this thing.
Well, I don't want to. Last time we started with the main event. We want to do that again, or we want to go in reverse order? We started with the main event elimination chamber. Or do you want to get the crappy matches out of the way first, so we don't?
No, because you already brought up the Sting descending from the heavens, so I think this is a good place to start. And you definitely have strong feelings about the Young Bucks. We have Sting's final match: Sting and Darby Allin versus the Young Bucks. It is for the tag team championships, a championship that both Sting and Darby Allin somehow hold. And this is going to be an awesome event, in my opinion. I think it's the right location for it. I think Ric Flair turned again, so now Ric Flair is a good guy. Who knows? Okay, we'll take it. I loved his punches that came at 10 miles an hour or 10 feet an hour at the Jackson's face. But I am fully invested in this match. Before we give a prediction, you said you're excited for this. I think it's going to be wonderful. What are you thinking?
Well, it not because of the Young Bucks, and this is not a. They had a great attack on Sting and Darby Allin where they bloodied their suits and everything was taken seriously. And then the following week, they're like tackling Tony Schiavone in the ring and just making everything a joke. And Darby Allin's talking about Cody Rhodes. Last week, Sting brought it back on the rails. And it was actually a very powerful promo because he lost his father in real life. Yeah. And that's devastating going into your last match. I can't imagine that. Like, I'm sure he wanted, that's just tough. But he brought a realism to that. And then I thought last night the Young Bucks was searching for Sting all night. They go to his locker room. There's a callback to WCW. They have the bats hanging from the ceiling. I thought that was well done. I did not see that coming from it. It was just very well done. And then the final segment where Sting descends from the rafters and Darby Allin's in the Sting mask in the crowd and attacks the Young Bucks. All of that was very well done. And Darby Allin might die in this match. Just the way this man is. He made some kind of comment that like Sting has to go out on the right way, and if I have to sacrifice myself, will help. I'll go for it. This man's also climbing Mount Everest in a month or so. He's indestructible somehow, and he's never injured.
Yet extremely destructible. Yet at the same time, extremely destructible. I agree with you. Everything about this build. I mean, there was that little hiccup, but I think they've really brought it back. I really love what happened on Dynamite this week. and Darby Allin will go to the absolute limits to make this a success. I think also because of what we've seen and how much truly most of the people in that company truly love the history of wrestling. I think we are seeing a lot more than Ric Flair return for this match in some capacity, and someone's hiding behind a door, and someone's gonna come out of the under the ring and just. I know he's been asking his friends like Kevin Nash to come back, and they can't because they're contractually obligated elsewhere. But if you're looking for a paycheck and you're a part of Sting's past, call Tony Khan immediately, and you'll be in this match. And I'm excited for it because I think they'll do it correctly.
Yeah, you could get Luger. I mean, he's not the. It still be great to see him like that. That would be amazing just to see all these legends. Maybe bring back the Steamboat again, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Let's get a prediction out of you because. Here's the thing.
Man,
Sting to me is, if anything, a student of the sport. Like he's had 3 Hall of Fame careers, in my opinion, and I think he is truly loves the world of wrestling, and I think he knows the age-old term that your final match, you're looking up at the lights. You're supposed to pay it forward, to give that shine to someone else because you're never going to be back in a ring. I truly think the Young Bucks are going to win this match and go forward with the whole, we're the crap heels and we're the bad guys. And look at us. We beat Sting. We sent Sting away. Am I wrong for thinking that?
No, I think they have to have Sting lose, which is just crazy because I don't want to see Sting win. I don't want to see them just put the belts in the middle of the ring and we'll have another tournament. I'm sick of tournaments. Let's crown a new champion here. Let's give the Young Bucks the champions. Let's make them the mega heels. Let's get me to love to hate them. I'm willing to get there. I'm willing to get there. But now it's in the middle. I still have some bad feelings about what's gone down there. But they need the titles. They need to be the biggest heel team in the company. They need to be insufferable. They're a little too goofy for me still with the spray tans. I know what they're doing. I know what they're trying to do, but it just doesn't. But yes, I think you have to have the Young Bucks win this match and have Sting. I think Sting needs
I still think you can have
Sting
the send off.
The pin.
I mean, I think Young Bucks should pin Sting, and he should lose. And I believe that you can still, after that match, have the send off where they pick Sting up slowly and they raise his arms and the crowd cheers for him one last time, and that's the final shot of AEW Revolution. I still think that can be achievable if he loses.
Well, what I'm just throwing a crazy theory out there. What if Darby Allin and Sting are posing in the ring and Darby just clocks him in the face?
I've been waiting for that since Darby Allin and Sting connected. I believe if Sting could pull off a singles match, we would have had Darby versus Sting long ago. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. But we're both picking Sting and Darby to lose, the Young Bucks to win. Let's move on to the next match that I think is a foregone conclusion here. It is for the AEW International Championship. It is Orange Cassidy, who has had that belt seemingly for eons, versus Roderick Strong with 2 cronies in the back. This new heel faction, whatever era they call themselves, they need a win here, and I think Roddy comes away with the win here. And as we've talked about on this show before, we sent Orange Cassidy off to a well-earned vacation. Am I right on this?
Yeah, I think you got to give Roderick Strong the win. Orange Cassidy, I think he defended the title last night, right? He's just never not on the show. It's just unbelievable. It's just give us a break. It's a gimmick character. The whole thing. Like he can do 5 moves and then he puts his hand. I disagree. We don't need to see it completely.
I think he's a wonderful wrestler.
All right, yeah, you're right. I'm a little strong there. But he is he's not a guy you should have on every week. I think it should be every other week, or this week he's on Dynamite, then next week he's on Collision. Have him rotating around the shows, make the International Championship on every show. I don't know, why that feels more important than the TNT Championship all of a sudden. There's a lot wrong with Orange Cassidy's title reign. It's gone on forever, but you need to give Roderick Strong the win because the Devil's Henchmen, or whatever they're called, the United Kingdom, that ever since World's End, that faction has been just running in place and treading water. So just give Roderick Strong a title and see if anybody gives a damn. Just try it, just to see, because Roderick Strong is an excellent wrestler and he's signed for about 5 more years.
Yeah, need to get a move on there. Speaking of treading water, this character has been treading water, and I thought he was poised to take over the whole entire company. But he is facing now another match that we assume he will lose, but a match that could steal the show. Will Ospreay's returning, and he's facing off with Takeshita. And I love Takeshita, and I would buy stock in that man's future, but talk about treading water ever since he joined the Callis family. But we have Will Ospreay coming out, another man who's part of that Callis family photo. Is there, dissent amongst the Callis family? I don't care about that particular part of it. I will say this is a traditional AEW match where the build does not matter. Just ring the bell and let these guys go. I think it's going to be very entertaining, but Ospreay comes away with the win. Am I right? Or do you think the Callis family gets one over on Ospreay and we extend that forward?
I guess they could try to extend that, get a little heat for the Callis family, but I don't think you want to have Ospreay losing right away. On his, you want to build him up. I think they're having Ospreay battle for the AEW Championship at All In 2024 in London. I think that's the plan. So I don't think you start him off with a pay-per-view loss. I think they should go 20, 25, 30 minutes. Just tear the house down.
Absolutely.
There should be the match of the night. There should be like Tony Khan should just say to Ospreay, "You're the best wrestler in the world. Everybody knows it. Go show everyone." And let them do their thing, because I'm not even going to say his name. I can't never pronounce it.
He's a wonderful wrestler, but
he's a great guy.
Ospreay's the man that's going to put butts in seats, so to speak. So we're tied now. We got all the same picks on all these matches. Let's go to one that I think is going to change, another one that could be match of the night. I think we're going to differ on this one. It's the blood feud between FTR and Jon Moxley and Claudio. Now, I don't believe there is any type of stipulation on this. I thought there would be based on the time limit draw that we had 2 weeks ago. There will obviously be blood in this match because it's a Jon Moxley match. But as I can tell, this is a regular wrestling match. I'm very excited to see this happen, and I do think this should get as much time as they are willing to give it. But I truly don't know who I think is going to win. Do you have any inkling on that one?
I can tell you who I hope wins. I'll go with that. I want to see FTR win.
Yeah.
They're an actual. I'm not saying that the Blackpool Combat Gang, whatever club, whatever the name is 48 million factions. BCC. Not saying they're not an actual team, but FTR is just been a tag team forever as the Revival a decade ago. They've been kind of floundering too. Another team that what are you doing with FTR? Why isn't FTR involved in this tag team chase with Sting? And you could have had like a three-way there. That would have been great with three teams of Sting to carry Sting even more. But FTR, I think, should get this win and be in the contendership to get another match against the Young Bucks if they win that match. If they become champions, I want to see FTR versus the Bucks again, because I think there's heat there, there's excitement there. They're two totally different teams. It's just
I completely agree. That I think FTR should win this match. That's why I am picking the Blackpool Combat Club to win this match, because of what is going to happen in the next match we're going to talk about. I think you need to keep Blackpool Combat Club strong. And I think going over FTR in a hard-fought match, and maybe there's a little bit of outside interference because, again, we don't really have any type of stipulations on this match. Maybe Wheeler Yuta, I know he's been out with an injury. Maybe there's a new Blackpool Combat Club member. Something happens in this match that goes against FTR, who are clearly working as the face here. Because as much as we want to see FTR versus the Young Bucks, apparently neither of those guys wants to play that game. I think Blackpool Combat Club goes over here, and that's the first one we're differing. Speaking of that match I wanted to talk about next, it is your boy, Bryan Danielson versus Eddie Kingston in a Pride match. This match is purely for Pride, and I do like the little bit of build we've gotten, but this is one of the many AEW matches that is just put two great wrestlers in the ring and figure out what happens on the fly.
It's not for the AEW Continental Crown Championship?
Oh, is it? Is it for the Continental Crown Championship? Another championship that truly doesn't matter?
That beautiful title that we all love. That beautiful title that's on the tip of everybody's minds. It's for that.
Then that's on me. I truly thought this match was purely built around Pride, and because if Danielson loses, he must give a handshake to Eddie Kingston. Okay, it's for a belt. Again, there are too many belts in this company, but Bob, who you got?
Well, I mean, Pride, Continental Championship, one and the same. It's the same thing. I have Eddie Kingston because Bryan Danielson can't win title matches in AEW. Always loses title matches. He's not winning a title ever in AEW. I think that's like a thing he said. Like, I'm signing here and I'm never becoming a champion and bringing your company to greater heights. I'm never going to do that for you. I'm here to have fun and wrestle everybody I love in New Japan. Like, that's what's going on here. And I love Bryan Danielson, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Really excited about this match, too. I love Eddie Kingston, one of the most relatable wrestlers of all time. I feel like it's like me in the ring at the time. Like, it looks like me. It's just great. But I think Eddie Kingston is going to prove to be tougher than Danielson in this particular match somehow. It's not going to be a technical match. It's not going to be submission holds. It's going to be Danielson's going to be trying to get Eddie to quit. He won't quit. Back fist to the future out of nowhere, and he wins. That's my prediction. Eddie Kingston retains his pride and the Continental Classic Championship, or whatever.
I disagree with how the match plays out, but I agree with the finish. I think definitely Eddie Kingston comes away in this one, and we're just about halfway done with AEW Revolution. Again, they packed this thing with matches, and that's the AEW style. But let's go to a match that we know. I'm not going to say it that way. Let's just go to the next match that was formerly known as the Meat Madness match. The Meat Madness match was going to be Wardlow, Lance Archer, and Hobbs, and I couldn't have been angrier at what was going on there. That match in particular encapsulated everything that was wrong with AEW, in my opinion. Here's the thing. Now we're in the All-Star Scramble match. There's 5 other wrestlers that truly don't matter. No offense to Hook and anyone else. They're not winning this match. The winner of this match has a shot at the World Heavyweight title. That will be Wardlow. There will be no one else. And here's the thing. Also, you had to get Chris Jericho on the card. It's in his contract. Exactly. But here's the thing about why this pisses me off is Wardlow gave the promo of his career. You've been building him with squash matches that nobody cares about, and then Wardlow comes out 2 weeks ago, gives an amazing promo where he puts himself into the title picture, and we all go, this is awesome, and then suddenly he's placed in a Meat Madness match versus 2 guys that truly don't matter at this point. It's not nothing to do with the wrestlers. It has to do with the booking. Hobbs does not matter. Lance Archer we haven't seen in 16 months. That Meat Madness match was purely for another win against big guys for Wardlow, and we did not have any build to it whatsoever. There was no Lance Archer and Hobbs pose no threat to Wardlow. So why is this match on my television screen? So we could chant at Meat about the Big E thing, like man slapping Meat? Is that the only reason why this was here? How can this not be built more when you have such great wrestlers and such great opportunity for it? Wardlow laid the ground for you. How do you not capitalize on that? So instead, Meat Madness switches to an 8-man match with a lot of people that are going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of cool spots in this match. It's going to trend on Twitter. But once again, I say to you, why the fuck should I care? That's it. That's it.
Dude, I don't know. You're asking the wrong guy. I just want, before I forget, I need to just speak quickly on Tony Khan, the way he handled this situation here. Tony Khan went on Twitter last night before Dynamite, said, the doctors shelved a couple people in the Meat Madness match, so we're going to change it to an All-Star Scramble. 2 hours later, everybody in the Meat Madness match is in this All-Star Scramble. Makes no sense. But yeah, you got to give the win to Wardlow. You can't give it to anyone else really in this match. It has to be. And again,
I'm fine with that. I'm okay with the train that we're running there, but make me care about his road to get there. Don't show me highlights a month from now saying, look, he put Lance Archer through a table. Why do we care? Lance Archer poses no threat because you've built him to pose no threat. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, he just disappears and he's like comes back here and there, and here's that imposing guy, and he attacks someone during his entrance, and we're all supposed to be like, wow, this guy's amazing, and he usually loses or disappears after the match. So it's just,
and it's nothing against Lance Archer. It's not against any of the workers in this match. It's purely against how they use him.
Powerhouse Hobbs should be a star. That's a criminal. Whatever's going on there with the QTV, he's putting that stupid TMZ spoof with QT Marshall, and now he's in this Don Callis family. Give him a manager. Put Stokely Hathaway with him. With like someone like that.
That was my favorite part of Dynamite that we're never going to talk about, by the way.
Yeah, he's great. Stokely's awesome. Put him with Hobbs, and you have a badass guy with a great manager. They just won't do it. He's with Callis. But
speaking of a badass guy who is his own manager, let's move on to the next match. It's Christian. Another daddy issues match against Daniel Garcia. I'm very excited for this match. I think the finish is a foregone conclusion, but I do think Daniel Garcia deserves this spot in the limelight, and I'm excited to see him perform under it. Again, though, it just seems like another match where we know the conclusion. I know AEW has a great chance to surprise us, but and obviously Adam Copeland could come out and do something. We haven't heard from him in a while, but I think this might end up being a popcorn match for me. Like, this might end up being a bathroom break match. Am I wrong in that?
I wouldn't go that far. I'll give Daniel Garcia a little more credit. You could be right though. For the crowd, it could be dead because they know everybody feels like Christian Cage is going to win, right? That's my prediction. he's going to retain, and they're going to continue the feud with Adam Copeland after this pay-per-view. So this is just like a stopgap. He hit Adam Copeland with a concerto a couple weeks ago on Dynamite. He's off television. Maybe he'll come back after this match and hit Cage with the spear after they cheat to win. That's Mother Wayne and Nick Wayne. There's going to be tomfoolery and shenanigans, but Christian Cage should win because he's far more entertaining than Daniel Garcia will ever be. Just on the promo, Christian Cage is at another level right now, so don't take that title off him. But have Daniel Garcia put up a good effort, have both guys looking great coming out of this, and then continue the feud with Copeland. But yeah, this match doesn't mean a lot to me, to be honest.
Yeah, it's
that's why I'm at a 5 at the excitement level.
I truly love AEW. Like I am not bashing it. I have just watched this now for 4 to 5 years, and there is only so long where you can just let the wrestling carry the weight of the whole entire production.
Well, yeah, and it's also, you can't be saying the same thing you've been saying for 4 to 5 years ago. Can't be the same thing you can say about Powerhouse Hobbs and Daniel Garcia and some of these guys. They're in the same place. It's very frustrating because they have the talent. Just gotta, but Tony Khan could shock us and make Daniel Garcia the TNT champion. That would be something. But I don't see it, because
as of right now, we only have one. No, I guess we have 2 title changes: Roderick Strong and the Young Bucks. But the next 2 matches are title matches, and then the biggest titles in AEW. And unless you're going to surprise me here, I don't know if I see a title change in these. Let's go. Timeless Toni Storm, Deonna Purrazzo. Will they have the half and half camera work during this match where half is black and white and half is in color? I don't know, but I do know that this match might be a little bit slow, because I know Purrazzo is sort of known as like a submission specialist and definitely a technical wrestler, and Tony can work that style of match too. But these 2 ladies, I really enjoy watching wrestle. I think they're both very, very good at the sport of wrestling, and I know they have the past with the friendship, the tattoos, so they will be able to draw on some stuff. Toni Storm is a very great comical wrestler, as well as a threat in a physical sense of a wrestler. I think she marries those 2 personalities very well. You have some idiots on the side that'll do shenanigans. I think it's going to be a very fun match, if not a short match, and it might start off slow because we're in the technical aspect of the thing. What do you think about this one?
Well, what I really want, I'm expecting Toni Storm to win. I think
I agree.
Yeah, okay. So but I want Purrazzo to have a good showing. I don't want this to be a Taya Valkyrie situation where she faces Jade Cargill and then is in ROH. You know what I mean? I want Purrazzo to be a real threat in the division, a real star. She's talented. She's great. Yeah, but you can't take the title off Toni right now. There's too much going. She's like the whole division right now. So you got
correct.
And when Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks come in, that's the feud. Toni Storm versus that's the feud. So good. I'm hoping for a good match, and I'm hoping that
as far as it's the only women's match in the card.
Right. So they gotta get. I'm hoping I think it's gonna be like a 15-minute match. I gotta give them time. So
they need to.
Hopefully they deliver. Hopefully they deliver, and Luther or whatever the butler, Toni Storm's butler name is, gets involved. I love that guy. The white suit ringside. That's great. Like, I love Tony. Everything about Toni Storm is great. People think it's too goofy. I disagree. Ham it up even more. I love it. Just go all in.
It's definitely a different flavor of it. It delays the repetitive of this whole entire world. But let's finish with a 3-way match that, in my opinion, man, again, I feel like I'm bashing on this thing. I should be much more excited about this, but I just feel like we know what the finish is so vividly that I will say we were tricked to get there. I did not know what was going on in Hangman Page, whether it was a real ankle injury, whether it was real that he had personal issues going on and this was the cover up and he was going to be missing. I was really playing into when he came out on Dynamite and I knew he was faking the limp. Come on, let's be serious. I've been watching wrestling for a while, but I thought they were truly not going to have him wrestle because of whatever was going on in his life. And whether that has a kernel of truth to it or not, I hope he, can figure everything out and be healthy. But when he hit Swerve with the crutch afterwards and is suddenly walking good and he's in the match, I popped. I was like, this is great. This is what I wanted. I wanted to see this 3-way. I'm happy he's actually there. Now, you know a little bit more in the journalism world of this than I do. Is there any information I'm missing on Hangman Page? Was this always in the cards that he was going to be a part of this match?
Yeah, I think it was a work. It was done well because it fooled me. I made a YouTube short about it, and I was like, "What's going on with Hangman Page?" So I'm a mark. It got me. The only I knew Hangman Page wasn't injured when he came down to the ring with crutches and cowboy boots on. That was a dead giveaway. Like, I've never seen that. So but I love that segment last night. I love the
I did
attack.
too.
I love the intensity in Hangman Page's. That's one of my main problems with him and a lot of the people in AEW. Like, where's the fire? Like they're saying the words, but where's the anger, the facials that WWE so trains everybody that they're angry at all the time? They missed that, but Hangman was so vividly pissed after he hit Swerve and he's shouting at Joe, I'm going to be the champion. It's just brilliant. I love it.
That's great. And Joe, you need anyone to bring the anger and the visuals. It's Joe. Like, there's no one more intimidating in the entire world.
And it's just a great double turn because Swerve Strickland's the baby face now, and Hangman Page is one of the major heels in AEW. And it's crazy to think of that the Young Bucks and these guys I thought Hangman Page would be a baby face forever. When he first, I thought he was like the perfect, with the beer, the drinking problem. I was into that stuff. I thought it was all funny.
Me too.
But I like this new side of him too, because I don't think he responded properly when Swerve invaded his house and sat next to his crib and didn't do anything. His child's crib. The following week, he didn't do anything to Swerve. Now he's got the proper anger. Now he's obsessed with him.
Go a little bit too far back. We got there.
No, I remember everything. We're going to talk about it.
However, this match,
and
again, these three guys are going to bring it. This match is going to be awesome. If this wasn't Sting's final match, this is absolutely the main event of any pay-per-view. I would love to watch this match. I think Swerve might be the most over guy in all of AEW, guy or gal in all of AEW. I think Swerve is truly wonderful, a future world champion, whatever he wants, Tony Khan should give him. But the question is, even though these guys are going to put on a show, even though the story is there, even though Joe is a formidable, crazy MF for when it comes to wrestling and does everything so well, is there any other finish than Joe pinning Hangman? Is there any other finish? Swerve cannot take the loss because his build is too good. Hangman is there to take the loss. Joe cannot be the transitional champion. Joe needs this win. He doesn't really have a win other than Hook as this championship. Is there any other finish other than Joe pinning Hangman?
No, and it's going to be like Hangman costs Swerve somehow too, so they can continue that feud, and Joe's going to break off and face whoever wins the All-Star Scramble. So Wardlow maybe. But we've already seen Samoa Joe and Wardlow, but that would be entertaining. But I agree with you. There's no way you can't have Samoa Joe lose. And if you're going to have anybody win besides Samoa Joe, it has to be Swerve Strickland. I see no scenario where you have Hangman Page walk out of here as a champion. So you got to, I agree. So I think the finish is Samoa Joe either choking out Hangman with the coquina clutch or the muscle buster with 1, 2, 3, and he moves on. But I think they're going and having Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Page once again, which is an entertaining feud. But I agree with you completely. Samoa Joe's leaving. Revolution the champion.
Another thing AEW likes to do, and I'm not sure they will do for this match because, of course, we're ending with Sting and the Young Bucks. We always like to have, especially in these big matches, some type of return or surprise. Is there any world that you see someone appearing that we did not expect? Maybe a returning MJF. I know he's dealing with all those injuries and surgeries. Adam Cole hasn't been heard of in a decade. There's also some big name free agents that have been toiling around in TNA that have yet to appear in AEW that we all thought would. I don't know what he's going by now, but Mustafa Ali. I love that. Like, is there anyone you see making an appearance at all during this?
Well, I guess that's a good, someone could confront Joe after, because I think whoever wins the
MJF cost Joe the title.
Yeah, I guess you could do that. I don't know. I think it's just they're gonna have Samoa Joe win, and then I don't think they're gonna do anything. I don't think there's gonna be any surprises. Yeah. I'd love for there to be, but I don't think they're gonna have Nick Nemeth or Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth, Mustafa Ali, or anybody like that show up. I don't because I think they already would have. I feel like they already would have. So I think, and I don't think this is going to end the show. So you're not going to have a big debut after the match. I think it could be the first match of the night. The AEW Championship could be the lead off the night.
Oh no, I think that's got to be FTR, John Moxley, Claudio, just so they can take the ring off when it gets all bloodied and replace it for the rest of the night. Also, I will say Mercedes Moné, Okada, some big names that still could make an appearance in this.
Absolutely.
So AEW does do a really good job of surprising you in that regard. But that is it for our breakdown of AEW Revolution. We will keep track of our picks, make sure who was right. We did not differ on a couple, which is why we started off saying we're not terribly excited about this pay-per-view. But let's move on now to the world of WWE. We gave AEW the shine. Let's move on to the world of WWE. There is one big thing in that build to WrestleMania, many big things, but the one thing we want to focus on is the belt that's not getting talked about. And your boy, man, Chad Gable made an appearance and said he should be the one to fight for one of my favorite, might be my favorite champion all of WWE right now, but let us hear it, man. What do you think is going to happen with this belt?
Well, Gunther's my favorite champion in WWE too right now as well. And I think, well, I whoever faces Gunther at WrestleMania, I think is going to defeat Gunther. So I think it's a very important decision. I think it's time to take the title off the man. You can't do anything more with it. He's done everything to do with it. He's ready to go on for whether he's after Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes, he's ready to go on to that next level. So Chad Gable makes sense to me because Gunther last year defeated him in the title match in the main event of Raw, and it was a great match, and Chad Gable's daughter was in the front row. Broke down in tears. Clip went viral. Gunther in interviews after, because he's just such an awesome heel, just gloating about it. And then, you're a terrible father, screaming at Chad Gable. Like, that's just brilliant stuff to me. Just a perfect heel, just a ridiculous individual. But yeah, I think Chad Gable would be a great story because he was a Shorty G, all these terrible characters just stuck in tag teams that went nowhere. He had the unfortunate with Jason Jordan. They were a good tag team. Jason Jordan went down with a neck injury. His career's over. He's with Otis. That's okay. They're just a comedy team. I think there's more to Chad Gable, but there's also other options there because Dominic Mysterio confronted Gunther on Raw. I don't want to see Dominic Mysterio versus Gunther, but could be an interesting match. Yeah, because the Judgment Day is like the bloodline on Raw now. They're like the thread line throughout the whole show. So it could be that, but I would love to see Chad Gable get his moment. Who would you like to see face Gunther? Is there anybody on the WWE roster, like out of left field, that you'd like to see? Do you want to see Gunther win at WrestleMania, or do you think he should be dethroned and move on to the major titles in the company?
Well, they did build at the Royal Rumble with Braun Breaker versus Gunther, and that was obviously supposed to be the Brock Lesnar spot. And stuff happened that we won't talk about on this show that took Brock Lesnar out. And that was supposed to be the WrestleMania, was Brock Lesnar versus Gunther. So Braun Breaker filling in that role, even though he's just appeared, I think would be a lot of fun. And I think would lead to one heck of a match. But there's no way I mean, maybe you do see Braun Breaker beating him, being the one to beat him. I don't know. That's the only other option that I would enjoy watching. Chad Gable's storyline makes more sense. And again, out of all the things you mentioned about Chad Gable having just the toughest run of nothingness in WWE, you forgot my least favorite Chad Gable moment when he wasn't Kurt Angle's illegitimate son, and it was instead given to Jason Jordan, which again, they pulled a swerve on us, and nothing against Jason Jordan. That guy deserved everything in the world before that injury, but come on, that had to be Chad Gable. It still should have been Chad Gable. Regardless.
I'd block that out of my mind.
Regardless, Chad Gable deserves the spot if we're going storyline wise. If we're going wrestler wise, Braun Breaker deserves the spot. And I think if we're on the marquee at WrestleMania, Gunther versus Braun Breaker makes more sense to me to sell tickets. But maybe I'm wrong.
What about this? It just came to me here. You said that Braun Breaker took Brock Lesnar's spot at Royal Rumble, and Dominic Mysterio was supposed to eliminate Brock Lesnar at Royal Rumble. So that didn't. I think he eliminated Braun Breaker. I could be wrong.
He did. Everything Braun Breaker did, Brock Lesnar was booked to do.
So what about a fatal four-way? Gunther, Chad Gable, Braun Breaker, Dominic Mysterio. Can we get there?
I mean, we don't have one yet, do we? Where we have sort of a multi-man match. Everything we've seen so far, other than what The Rock is doing that could end up being a tag, is really a one-on-one match. So every now and again, we usually have some. I mean, remember the ladder match that Zack Ryder won? You know what I mean? Those title matches always happen. One of them is usually a multi-man match. Maybe that could be it. That'd be a lot of fun.
Well, last year was Gunther, Drew McIntyre, and Sheamus was a triple threat at WrestleMania 39, and that was a banger. That was an epic match, and I would like that because you would because Dominic Mysterio and Braun Breaker aren't really like they're not all that experienced. They're good, but you put them in there with Gunther and Chad Gable, they can carry each other and carry Breaker and Mysterio to a great match, and I think that would be awesome. That just came to me.
I
That's
think you're onto
what I
something
want to
there.
say. Yeah,
I think you're onto
but
something there. All right, one more
yeah.
subject before we go to the gimmicks of the week. You want to talk about what's going on with Maxxine Dupri and what's going on with all of the wrestlers speaking out in her defense. You can probably set the stage better than this, but was this a live event where she was booed out of the building by fans?
Yeah, she was performing in a live event, and she got booed. And the issue apparently is the language of saying like "you suck" and never come back. I don't know, man. Like, I've been to plenty of sporting events in my lifetime. 95% of those people are 4 or 5 beers deep. Like, you can't control someone yelling "you suck" at a wrestling show, and you can't get offended by someone yelling "you suck." That's the problem. Like, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I just want to set the stage for the listener that might not know it. I know we'll add some tweets in here, but basically Maxxine Dupri's live event, fan is yelling at her. Did she react to the fan when we were watching it on video, or did she just sort of play it off and the reaction came later?
Yeah, she just kind of waved, and then like someone tweeted a video of it and went viral, and then all the wrestlers started saying, you know, Rhea Ripley said, "I wish some of you could get booed at work and know how it feels." And it's like, well, I'm not. Most people aren't trying to be in the public eye. Most people work at like a Walmart. It would be weird if they got booed at a Walmart. Like,
so you're defending the right of the fan to be the fan, and as long as we're not, again, if you ever yell derogatory stuff or make any type of threats towards someone because they're on a public stage, you know, go F yourself. We're not for that. But you're defending the fan to be the fan.
Yeah, we don't need people tackling Seth Rollins like that guy did once on Raw. Well, that's over with. But I'm talking about the right to say, if you paid your money and you see somebody that's training on the job, that you have the right to be. Why am I paying to watch somebody train? Do this at the PC, and then you come here when you're a little better. Like, she's had 13 matches in her career. She's a beautiful girl. She's very talented. I'm not saying she has no shot, but they're putting her in an impossible situation. There's 13 matches in her career, and she's like having main roster matches against Rhea Ripley, like on Raw, which I don't get. Like, you do that at the PC and practice it for a month, and then you bring that to television with someone that inexperienced. That's just my problem. They're like, well, she's learning on the job. Be gentle with her. It's like, if that was Brian Pillman Jr. and he stunk up the building at 26 years old, he'd get booed. It's like a weird, like, it's like, because it's just an interesting dynamic. It's like people really defending her. It's just, I think fans have the right to say, well, she kind of sick. She sucks right now. This was not personal. Unless they make it personal, then everybody has the right to be mad. But "you suck" isn't personal to me.
I think I think I'm leaning with you, but I also see why that the especially the leaders in that locker room came to her defense, because I do think there's a lot of togetherness, especially in WWE right now. A lot of like, we're in this fight against AEW like together, especially like the next step after Vince has left, or the next era of WWE now that UFC has purchased them. I do think the locker room is really banded together in a good way. So I understand coming to their defense, but I think I'm with you on the fact that I pay my money. I can boo who I want. I can cheer who I want. And as long as I keep it respectable, that's the nature of the game. And I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, just don't cross the line. But from what I saw, I didn't see anybody crossing the line. That's part of being a professional wrestler. You get booed. The Rock got booed. The Rock got booed out of the building, and he turned heel. And he adapted to the crowd. What if The Rock was like, "What's going on?"
They're not always going to love you. Let's move on to the gimmicks of the week. Every week we end a couple of gimmick matches, gimmick topics for you guys. Power through them. And first one I want to talk about is contract news of the week. You got something to say about Drew McIntyre?
Yeah, it's just up in the air. We got a report from, this is an insider wrestling account called BWE Wrestling, Better Wrestling Experience, that all us fake wrestling journalists use to hopefully use as a scoop. But he was dead wrong. He reported that Drew McIntyre signed a new contract. Alex McCarthy of the Daily Mail followed up and said, no, he hasn't. So just Drew McIntyre is battling for the World Heavyweight Championship in 4 weeks, and he's not signed past WrestleMania 40. That's insane to me. So I don't understand. Like, they have to. It would be unbelievable if they can't reach a deal and he loses at WrestleMania and walks to Dynamite. Like, that would be.
That's why. That's why I
used to be
disagree with
hoping
you
for that.
completely. It might not be out there that he signed a deal, but he has
Right.
signed a deal. Let's move on to the It's Still Real to Me, damn it.
It's still real
Bob,
to me,
this again
damn it.
goes to you. Something about Damage Control tugged at your heartstrings.
Yeah. This whole storyline, Bayley wins the Women's Royal Rumble. Her stablemates, the Kabuki Warriors, WWE Women's Champion Io Sky, all betray her, attack her. What's Dakota Kai gonna do? She's been out with a torn ACL. She's returning to action tomorrow night on SmackDown, teaming with Bayley against the Kabuki Warriors. I feel like we all know Bayley's walking into her own demise, and I'm just upset about it. So that's why it's still really real to me. Damn it, it's got me. I'm invested. Bayley's been one of my favorites for a long time. I think she's one of those like unsung heroes that always is like a selfless
She's walking
person.
in to the fire, and you want to save her.
Yeah, but it's gonna make Dakota Kai. It's gonna make her an even bigger star. So she's doing another thing for somebody else on the way to her moment. Because that's Bayley. But it's just I'm more invested in Bayley as a performer since I've been watching her for like a decade now. I'm like, no, please don't. You have to know that she's gonna betray you. But I don't think
You're gonna
I
be
think
crying like that little girl in NXT, and Sasha Banks throws the glasses at you. Okay,
Yeah.
let's move on now to the debut of the week. My man, Ty Dillinger, Sean Spears came back to NXT. Let's both say what we want about this debut. All right, and now it's time for the headline of the week. Bob, you give out WWE. I give out AEW. I'll go last because Revolution is on the horizon. What is the headline of the week next week? That's the thing we are all talking about in the wrestling world.
Well, I'm going to paint the picture a little bit here. Cody Rhodes appeared on the Grayson Waller Effect on Elimination Chamber, challenged The Rock to a singles match.
Did he? I fell asleep during that segment.
Oh, yeah, I wish I did. Last Monday night on Raw, Paul Heyman confronts Cody Rhodes with 3 suspended NYPD police officers. I don't know if you caught this. And he just basically demanded that Cody Rhodes withdraw his challenge to The Rock. Cody Rhodes beat down the suspended NYPD police officers and said, I'm not, the bloodline's not hunting me. I'm hunting the bloodline. Yeah, and he's going to be on SmackDown tomorrow night. Yeah. So, but The Rock is scheduled for the next 3 weeks of SmackDown heading into WrestleMania 40.
So what's the headline?
The Rock will be returning to the ring before WrestleMania 40. He will also be competing at WrestleMania 40, but I think in these 3 weeks, we may get The Rock versus Cody on SmackDown heading to WrestleMania just to make that buzz ridiculous. If they have a tag team match in night 1, there's a million. I just think The Rock will be in action in the next 3 weeks on SmackDown. What about you for AEW? What's your headline?
My headline, as I said, not terribly excited about the changes coming in this pay-per-view, but as always, we know AEW will deliver on the wrestling angle. And my headline is going to be a tweak of something you said earlier. It stuck with me the whole entire time during this episode. So my headline is... At the age of 31, we sadly say goodbye to Darby Allin, who is deceased after throwing his body around the ring with no regard for the future. So Darby Allin is gone. We're holding up flowers, and we are remembering one of the greatest and shortest careers in wrestling history. I'm excited, man. Let's go. Sting, Young Bucks. I cannot wait to watch that match. And poor Darby Allin. That's all we got this week. Next week, I'm sure we'll talking a lot more about Ryback, but this week it's over.